Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. And in this video, we're going to talk about fullness, all kinds of permutations of fullness, and why comfortable fullness can feel like a threat. I'm just going to list lots of examples, and then we'll talk about what to do, maybe a starting place of what to do about that, okay? So it's going to be the practical stuff of hunger fullness work, and then it's also going to be some of the intolerable conflicts we might have about comfortable and adequate fullness. So I'll just start off personally. So when I was in my own eating disorder 25 plus years ago, at the earlier stages of recovery, when I had kind of like put my stake down into recovery, I'm going to do this, I started really struggling a lot more with fullness than I had when I was only restricting. And that's pretty common. I had a lot of like recovery hunger happening. My body just needed to heal the deficit and all the malnutrition. So I would let myself get more full sometimes, but certainly it was more like the fear of hunger kind of thing. I had a lot of that. But there was a time where it was a short period of time. I think I just had a part that was like, I want to get as full as I can get so I can just go to sleep, basically. I think I really just had that kind of part. I wanted to dissociate. So sometimes with fullness, we have a couple different ways we do it. Sometimes having a hard time stopping at comfortable fullness. So I would say, let's say 7, 8, occasionally a 9 on the hunger fullness scale, 0 through 10. Going to an 8 is normal. It is normal to have some gentle pressure. It doesn't mean you ate too much. It just means you won't be hungry objectively in 5 or 6 hours. And that's not a problem. Now, this doesn't count for people who are just starting recovery and who are under their body's more thriving weight, we'll call it, and clearly have been under eating regularly for a long time or still have a habit of at least some level of under eating. Okay, so I'm really speaking to like someone who is mostly nutritionally rehabilitated. Okay, so you don't have a ton of backlog of calorie restriction. For those of you who are watching, it's like, probably like 75-80% there with the recovery from the dieting part of the eating disorder or the disordered eating. Or maybe you're there where it's like, I don't undereat very often. It's more that I have a hard time with remembering to take care of myself or feeling entitled to take care of myself or stopping when I'm full. Okay, so when I was more nutritionally rehabilitated, I went through a period of time where I was feeling so much, and honestly so much was not going great, that I didn't want to go back to restricting. My body is like, no, because I almost died. That's not good. And I just didn't really like who I was when I was restricting. I didn't like the pride. I didn't like the self-absorption. I didn't like any of that stuff. And so I felt like, okay, well, I don't really still have any skills. Back then it was almost like just behavior change and you're done. And I had to learn a lot of the hard ways. That's why I try to share all this information, both that's out there that works for people, plus my own experiences, is that I swung over here to like getting to certain kinds of fullnesses of being distracted with work or school wasn't working. So the fullness, I would get really, really full, past comfortable fullness, to the place of a little bit of blah, but kind of like blah kind of feeling. And that would just I wouldn't be so uncomfortable I couldn't sleep, but I would be so uncomfortable that I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't think, couldn't feel, and I could just go to sleep and then start all over again the next day. And I'll talk a little bit about what we can maybe possibly experiment with that. Another thing that I see with fullness is not so much that people maybe overeat, but they'll often not let themselves get that hungry. So they're always staying in this like 6, 7, 8, 9 realm where it's like they're just a little bit emptied out, or let's say they were an 8, good and full, a little bit of pressure, a 9, like I'm kind of over full, but not like sick or anything, but just a little feeling uncomfortable. 8 would be, I'm not uncomfortable, I'm just good and full, and the diet voice isn't like that. 7's like, well, 8, pretty good amount of food. I could eat a little bit more, but I'm good. And the 6 would be like, oh, there's some food in my stomach. I'm not really hungry anymore. But, yeah, usually your experience shows you that you're hungry in an hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's clearly not a full meal, okay? but I'll work with people, and sometimes the moment they start digesting, literally like every hour goes by, they feel less full, is when some of like the activation will come in. And clearly the body's saying that like there's something, it's not true safety per se, but there's some kind of overcoupling dynamics happening here where there's this belief that if you stay really full, you'll be okay. Whatever that means, whether it's I won't have to feel uncomfortable feelings, I won't have to think about things. It just generally helps with some like high global activation kind of feelings, whatever it's doing, right? And that's for us to explore. But I'll find that people just don't let themselves get hungry. So it's the opposite, like of last time I spoke, which is fear of hunger. Some people have fear of hunger too, and they don't ever let themselves get there. They stay over here, like this, like slightly with some food in their stomach to like being a little uncomfortable, okay? And then I've had other circumstances where people honestly sometimes eat to a certain fullness level to feel pain. You know, for me, it was like, I don't want to feel anything. I just want to go to sleep. Some people, look, it's the middle of the day. They might eat a good bit of food to feel so physically uncomfortable that whatever they had to deal with before, or whatever was arising, or whatever, again, internal conflict was happening, they just ate to like have something else to focus on. And I see that quite a bit. A certain kind of like physical discomfort as if I can't get rid of this, then I'll do this. And then the other thing I've also seen many times is people eating things, and these are parts that actually really not just like give you like, oh, I feel really full, but like might cause a physical reaction, you know, like a GI, like really quick GI distress, or allergies. I've seen people eat foods that they know the body can't tolerate very well. But other parts actually get a person to do it on purpose. And we have to look at the function of that as well. So there's a lot of reasons we eat past comfort. And again, it's always step one. If you're eating and you feel physically uncomfortable, not so much mental and emotional discomfort, but actual physical discomfort, or you're eating and you just ate 2 hours ago and you weren't really hungry yet. And, you know, food's plenty available. You can wait and get hungry. When you're struggling with some of that, again, name the hunger, you know, the fullness level as you're at. And honestly, what is going on around those times where it's like, I'm hungering clearly for something, but it's not biological. It's not food. And that needs to be unpacked. All right. And just like we talked about everything else, you could ask these simple questions like, what would it mean if I didn't have more food right now? Oh, I'm sorry. And step one, going back, is did I eat enough today? Have I been having diet thoughts? Have I been having, I'm not allowed to eat XYZ food. So if you have any deprivation in your mind or in your behaviors, you're going to take care of that with food ASAP, whether you're hungry or not. So check on that first. Then number two is like, well, what would it mean if I didn't eat right now? And get your answers. It would mean I have to feel uncomfortable emotions, and what would it mean if you have to feel uncomfortable emotions? I have to be in integrity and in honesty that I got a lot of stuff I need to deal with, or I'm feeling overwhelmed by my health stuff and I need more support, or whatever it is. I mean, you can fill in the blank. Or what did you come to believe that if you don't get really full, you'll explode emotionally, or you won't be able to tolerate the aloneness, or whatever. There's a lot of stuff here, and I know this isn't necessarily beginner stuff, but what I want to give people is hope that there's a way out with adequate support, and doing all this in appropriate timing and pacing. And if you're too busy, this isn't probably the easiest work to be doing, because it needs time and focus and intentionality. And if you've got parts of you that don't let yourself slow down and have the support you need, it's kind of hard to move forward. And that's where we get a little desperate. And then we do desperate things like, you know, go back on a diet, or think losing weight's going to fix it. It's just not. Losing weight's going to fix all the health things. It's not. But we get back into that place anyway if we don't know how, or we have beliefs about what it means to slow down and look at things. But the reality is that, again, you're made with a good mind, and we can differentiate now time and memory time, and we can recognize that we're not stuck anymore without resources. We can reach out and see what's available and get some support if we need more co-regulation to do this work. So I hope that helps you. I wish it was simpler. I wish it was simpler that, like, oh, I read the Intuitive Eating book, and I read, some other good resources, and listen to a few podcasts, and that'll just fix this. And it's not really like that. It's very much peeling the onion layers off to what is getting in the way of normative eating from hunger and fullness kind of eating. And I know it's not as simple for everyone. Sometimes it takes a lot more intentionality and time and reminders to get more interoceptive awareness, but it can be done. Sometimes we have to mechanically eat until we can get more practice, and then we can do more interoceptive awareness work. But being able to separate out your emotional hunger and fullness and your physical hunger and fullness is certainly worth the effort. All right, thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If you have comments below, please put them there, and I'll be happy to answer them. And until next time, have a great day, and bye for now.